You goofy gooberg. You fumbled the whole bag. You didn't even buy the cards before they skyrocketed in price. What are you doing? I ain't even gonna cap. I didn't either. Now, before we let the copium set in and say, we don't need these cards, they don't matter, kind of like what some of our mothers said about our fathers, and that's why we grew up without them, but I'm not gonna get into it. I'm just gonna say that these cards actually matter. And unlike knowing that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, I'm actually going to be giving you important information that you need on these inflated cards, in specifics, the ones that actually matter. Watch the whole video. What I find so strange about this Yu-Gi-Oh card game is that there are cards that will go up in price because they naturally should go up in price. They're good cards. And then there's a lot of smoke, a lot of clout, a lot of cards that have no business going up in price. Let me know if you find something else interesting about this card game, or if there's some cards that I may have missed, as well as some cards that have went up for no good reason. Today I'm going to be focusing more on the cards that you actually need and giving you reasons why you should invest into them over some of the other cards that they kind of mid. And of course, if you find this information extremely useful and are buying on TCG Player, be sure to use my TCG Player link. It's down below. It doesn't cost you anything and it greatly helps me. Without further ado, I won't waste any more of your time. Let's start off with a card that a lot of players may not have known about. Mischief of the Gnomes is actually a really good card for being able to take down the sprite strategy. Basically, what this card does, it allows you to reduce all the levels in your opponent's monster's hand by 1, and then it can banish itself from the graveyard to do the same. Now, there are other cards that do similar things that have skyrocketed in price, such as Stingy and Dirge and Mischief of the Yokai, but I'll be able to explain why I like Gnomes a little bit more than both of these other cards. The first reason is that Mischief of the Gnomes is a lingering effect, meaning that once you resolve the effect of Gnomes, you'll be able to reduce all monsters in your opponent's current hand by 1 for the rest of the turn. Yokai and Dirge have similar properties to their effects, but there's actually a catch to both of those. Stingy and Dirge is actually a continuous trap card that can be easily destroyed with cards like Twin Twisters, making it effectively useless if you're already playing a back row heavy deck. On the flip side, Mischief of the Yokai is a card that does almost very similar to what Gnomes does, but can't be activated twice in one turn. This means if your opponent already starts off with a card like Splite Starter to be able to special summon Sprite Carrot to their side of the field, then yeah, you can't use the effect twice. On the flip side, Mischief of the Gnomes can be activated twice in one turn when your opponent adds new cards from their deck to their hand that could be level 2, or when your opponent decides to, I don't know, negate the effect of your Gnomes with Sprite Carrot. Now, I'm not gonna cap, it's something tantalizing about Mischief of the Yokai's ultimate rarity. Oh my God, it's beautiful. But unlike my mom, I'm not gonna jump on the first thing that looks good and give my deck emotional damage. I think picking up your copies of Mischief of the Gnomes, barring a reprint, will be a very good idea. And while we're speaking on, I don't know, preparing for the meta, DD Crow is actually an excellent card that has been not only clapping last meta's cheeks, will only get better in this particular meta. Reason why is because against the sprite strategy, being able to banish Ronin Tonin will prevent them from making their totally awesome, but also against Tier Element, banishing any of their monster effects in the graveyard to fuse with this card prevents them from being able to fuse. You should know this, dog. You goofy go-bird, have you not seen the meta counter guide? Well, go watch the meta counter guide and then come back. So now that we're moving forward, there's actually some good news about DD Crow and then some bad news about DD Crow. Probably should start off with the good news, because it would be weird if I started off with the bad news. It kind of defeats the purpose. The good news of DD Crow is that there's multiple different printings. You can literally catch DD Crow in almost every single rarity. The bad news with DD Crow is not a single one is under $6. Every single one? DD Crow is genuinely what I imagine Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring in the near future. So if this card ever does get a reprint, I mean, that's hopium, right? It's probably best to just go ahead and bite the bullet and pick up your DD Crows right now. If you thought that DD Crow is tragic, well, this list only gets worse. I mean, the video is literally titled, "You should have bought these cards." There's no reprieve here. Garua the Winds of Resonant Life is a fire Yu-Gi-Oh card. Garua Winds allows your super polymerization to be live against strategies that it should not be live against. I mean, if your opponent is playing a deck that plays the same type and attribute, which is, if you ask me, what archetype should be, then super polymerization is good against them. And this actually begs me to ask you, have you bought your super polymerizations? I hope you bought your super polymerization. If you have not bought your super polymerizations, fortunately, I guess big brain players have already figured this card out. It was $4 at the time of Sneak Peek coming out and now has ballooned to $16. Now there's maybe a little bit of reprieve here because it's still Sneak Peek. As of making this video, the Power of the Elements set has not came out. It actually unofficially releases on Wednesday and then officially on Fridays. So you can expect a couple of price dips, hopefully. The reason why I'm saying this is because there will be a lot more Garuas in circulation, but what some people don't understand is that ultra rares are, yeah, they're not a lot. If I remember correctly, there are 6 ultra rares per box and there are 24 box per set. And there are multiple different types of ultra rares. You can wind up anywhere between 1 in 5 of Garua per case. That's right, for the same price as 1 gallon of gas, you can get 1 to 5 Garuas a case. I don't know about you, but this sounds like a very dangerous game to play. I would probably wait a little longer and hope the goddamn Garuas go down in price before people realize this information. See, not everything's bad, just hopium. You whippersnappers, like you said, you were the first one to invent it. Back in my day, Coach King Game Trainer was used for Fire Fist. And if I can ever find my copies, I'm cashing out and going to the strip club. Regardless, Coach King Game Trainer is a very powerful Exceed 8, requiring 3 level 8 monsters, but who's really counting? Chaotic Ruler is probably going to be one of them, allowing you to draw 3 cards and burn your opponent for life points. Could come up in time, especially if you're playing a ranking deck like Punks or Therion. I think that this is easily one of those cards that we all may have overlooked. Well, I guess except for Boomer Cali, because he should have plenty of those. And if you want to continue down that path down memory lane, if you like Shadalls, well, I have some very bad news for you. Shadal Window, of all things, have went up in price. Gee, it's almost like somebody told you to buy the guard. I mean, secret rare Shadal Windows. I mean, it's not like, you know, those are easy to get now. It happened over 5 years ago. I ain't even gonna cap. If you want max rarity windows, you got 2 options. You can wait for the OTS Ultimate, which will inevitably happen before we get an Ash Blossom Ulti, or, I mean, pick up the secrets. A card that did just so happen to get an OTS Ultra, but you're a little too late for that. And it's a card that you direly need is easily Swap Frog. Now, if this was a video that, you know, I could say, I told you so to buy Swap Frog before they got, I told you so. Swap Frog is not only important for the Splice strategy, you would think that it'd be important for another strategy. I don't know, like an archetype of amphibians or something. Do they start off as what, like tadpoles and then they, who cares about them? Unless we get another dual Devastator set, I genuinely do not see another Swap Frog reprint. And those ultis, boy, you're not ready for that. You ain't balling like that, you know. You not balling like Odeon, boys. Sit down. That price is a trap. And lastly, talking about old school cards for meta decks, another card that I hope gets a reprint, but doesn't look anytime soon, is King of the Swamp. Now, King of the Swamp is, it searches polymerization, dog. Seriously, I can't believe we're in 2022 and polymerization is like way more busted now than it was when it came out. Fuse for Gaia the Dragon Champion. Fuse for Guardian Chimera. There's a huge difference right now. What do the kids call it? Do they call it a ratio? Yeah, I'm cool now. King of the Swamp obviously can also be treated as a fusion substitute in the graveyard, which is extremely good for the tier limit strategy, and that's why this card is way more expensive than a gallon of gas, or is the price of a gallon of gas. Interesting. For 1 King of the Swamp, you can swamp your gas tank into something. Regardless, its ridiculous price tag doesn't really mean anything because we aren't getting the Ishizu strategy anytime soon. Unless we do, you're gonna need these swamps and they're depressingly expensive. I didn't buy mine. And that is all that I have for basically I told you so in a big F you, but also cards that you probably should, we should start working on getting these. Now, of course, if you want to see my buy these cards before they skyrocket in price because you don't want to be on the butt end of I told you so again, then go ahead and like this video and let me know. Also, be sure to catch me on stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as I'll catch you on the next one.